Hello, everybody. It is 1 p.m. Central Time on the 5th of June, 2021. Saturday here in the United States. Got some breaking news for everybody. Southern California was just struck by a noteworthy series of earthquakes, going up into the 5 range, now downgraded into the 4 range, and then taken back up into the 5 range. The location in question is our warned area, one of our warned areas, down right at Salton Sea. And there's our swarm going on now. Again, it was up at 5. We're back down to 4s. Okay, multiple 4s and 5s is the actual numbers right now. Calipatria, California is the location, but we all know this as Salton Sea. Salton Sea volcano. And we issued the warning a day and a half ago when our big earthquake, 5.9, struck off the coast of Oregon, prompting me to issue the warning for Salton Sea location. Let me turn on our Smithsonian place mark so you can see where the Smithsonian has Salton Sea marked, and we can see how close or how far off we actually are. So here we are. The red triangle is where the Salton Buttes are marked from the Smithsonian. There's the place mark for it. Pause it and read it if you need to. I just want to know miles. How far off in miles am I? Well, that's kilometers. 6 kilometers. In miles, I'm off by 3.7 miles. And magnitude-wise, spot on in magnitude. Again, they went up to 5. They took it down. Oh, there it is. It's back. There it is. 5.2. Now they've got it back. So we had warned, again, after the 5.9 struck a day and a half ago, yesterday, out off the coast of Oregon, and prompting me to show this map, the USGS plate boundary map over here. And our earthquake from yesterday up here at the southern arm of the Juan de Fuca. And here's our flowing river, if you will, the San Andreas, where we're connected to the southern part, and that goes over into the edge of the Craton, which is the southern edge. And you'll notice on the graphic here that I've got on the screen, we've got double-sided arrows letting us know the flow goes up and down this. Sometimes we get activity down here or down in Mexico. If it's big enough, we'll see a response within a few days up on the north side. But that's rare. Normally it flows out of here and flows down and across the plate. So this fulfills the forecast for Southern California already on day 1, and we have 6 more days to go. The other 2 spots that were warned right here at the California-Nevada border at Yuba Hibi Craters, going between Long Valley Caldera and Yuba Hibi Craters, and then the other warned spot, the Bay Area, Napa Valley. So far, one of the 3 has been hit. The other 2, are due in the next 6 days. But 1 out of 3 so far, not bad on the forecasting. So we're going to expect this also to go over to Oklahoma and the East Coast very soon in the next several days. We have a warning going for New York, across New York, over diagonally down into New Jersey, from the Canada border across down into New Jersey, okay? That's where our warning is going across here. And then we also have a warning going for near 4.0 activity down south, Mississippi, Alabama. We have a warning going here at the Texas-New Mexico border region. That's for also near 4.0. And then the biggest of the bunch, we have a warning for an upper 4 to near 5 to be striking right here at the Oklahoma-Kansas border. Yesterday, this extremely rare earthquake struck up here at the Nebraska-South Dakota border, but there's something directly there. So let me show you what's there, and you guys can just put it all together yourself. We watched hotspots appear, and you can go watch my updates over the last 2 updates that I uploaded, talking about the hotspots traveling across the country and relating them into electricity. So what about this? Another big earthquake, noteworthy and rare, right next to a hydroelectric dam. Too many of them happening, and you can't say it's water weight quakes because we see the earthquakes happening below power lines, next to nuclear power plants, next to solar farms and wind farms as well. I don't think those have too much weight associated with them, so we can't blame it on the water. It's the electric. So this new 5.2 earthquake being reported in here at Salton Sea. Now what's up with this new 5.2? Is this the Europeans? Sure is. This shows you how far off the Europeans can be in their coordinates just by the decimal point. We're talking about a 15, maybe 10 or 15 mile, maybe 20 mile off location, but it's the same quake. So while they do have it marked as 5.2, they have the right magnitude. The location does not match the USGS, so one off quake 5.2 over on the western side of Salton Sea. We'll see if the USGS adjusts their coordinates, but right now there's a big swarm going on top of the 5 point whatever that struck. So this was all expected. Swarm 5.0, Salton Sea. And if you want to hear the warning, you can go over to my YouTube channel and check out the warning for Southern California. So here it is. Here's the video, and you can hear me mention it several times in the update once we get to the United States, talking about where to watch in here. So it's an hour-long update, at least 10 times in the update. I mentioned what to look for down in Southern California at Salton Sea. So the other two spots that should move, we have 6 days to prepare for this, and it could happen any time between now and the next 6 days. I issue 7-day warnings for ease of human purposes. Mother Nature does not operate on a 7-day time schedule. I'm constantly updating and trying to keep that afresh for 7 days. So let's recap. A 6 struck up off the coast. You see it here? Well, 5.9, whatever. 2 5.9s. Add them together, it equals 6. So 2 5.9 struck about 30 minutes apart, 13 miles apart, and a big fracture broke yesterday off the coast of Oregon in the Juan de Fuca fracture zone. Let's show it to you again where it struck. Up here, this happened yesterday, prompting me to issue the warning for 3 locations in California, 1 in the Bay Area, 1 over here at Ubehebe Craters. Oh, check it out, a new earthquake has just been reported over there. Well, we got to go look that up. Hold on. Prompting me to issue a warning over at Tom's Place. Long Valley, a new 2. Anyway, so we issued a warning right there at the California border and a warning down here at Salton Sea. So far, Salton Sea has been hit with the expected magnitude at the location. The other spots, we're still waiting. But this is day 1 of a 7-day watch, so it's pretty soon. Again, first we get our big movement off the coast, then Southern California moves within the day. This has happened many times. As a matter of fact, if you're in California, you usually get at least a day's warning between events. First the movement up off the coast to the northwest, then the movement down south to the southeastern California on mainland California going down to Southern California. But the size that's coming in from up here lets us know the size that's normally coming in down here to the south. Now, if you're wondering where this all came from, let's just go back a couple more days. There we go. Let's get all the smaller earthquakes out of there. Now you should be able to see it. A 6. A 6 struck on the edge of the craton up to the northwest, followed by a 5.9 to 6. Here, 2 different earthquakes, 2 5.9s. Now followed by this. And it's not that this 6.1 caused these other 2 5.9s, and it's not that these 5.9s caused this 5.2. It's that all 3 earthquakes are caused by an inundating wave that spreads out across a vast area and drops off the earthquakes along the way. This is the force that causes the earthquakes that spreads out and causes these quakes. It's not that one quake chain reaction domino effect somehow causes the other. It's that they all pop off within a few days of each other as the standing wave spreads out across a vast distance. So this is a big one for Southern California. I want to say it's the first 5 in Southern California. Well, I'm just guessing, but what do you think? 6 months? So we got it down to the day. We issued the warning yesterday. I don't always issue warnings for Southern California to be on watch for 5s and greater. It's only when we see noteworthy earthquakes off the west coast do I issue the warnings for Southern California. It's one due to the other, all caused by the standing wave, not by one earthquake causing the other. But we see one happen after the other in succession as the quote-unquote standing wave spreads out across a vast distance. And you can see that standing wave here in a laboratory experiment. But each of the same size quakes where 6.1, two 5.9s, and a 5.3 in a swarm. What's the difference? They're all about the same size. Maybe the 5.3 or 5.2 in swarm is a little bit less. But the diffusion on that, the lack of energy or loss of energy going across that distance isn't that much. A professor, we'll leave him unnamed, denied that there was any relation between earthquakes across distances because he said the equations of elasticity say, and this is like basically a law in science, that as energy spreads out, it dissipates. And it's true. I'm not debating that. But he was saying that I was saying that one earthquake was causing the other, and I had to explain to this professor that no, I'm not saying an earthquake up off the coast of Oregon is causing the earthquake down in Southern California. I'm saying that both of those quakes are caused by an outside third force that's not yet being measured, that I think is very low frequency, and it's spreading out across a vast distance, and each one of these waves a few hundred, if not a few thousand miles apart. Another way to look at this would be Alaska, west coast of the United States, Southern California. All about the same size, and the difference is just minuscule in the standing wave as it spreads out across the tank. So I'm not shocked to see a 5 down in Southern California. I am somewhat shocked to see it a day later. Normally it's like the end of the week. Normally we have a few days for the progression to take place. It's a quick push. It's a big push. We know it's a quick, big push. It broke 13 miles in 30 minutes off the coast of Oregon. 2 5.9s. First one broke, second one broke. Connecting between 13 miles of breakage. The next day, new 5 strikes down in Southern California at the volcano of all places. And that volcano, I did not even tell you, has been drilled. So it's a double weak point. Let me show it to you. Down here at Salton Sea. Right here. So here is Salton Buttes, or here are Salton Buttes. And on the side of them are these. A bunch of these. That's just one. Got another one right here. Got another one down here. Geothermal turbines, and you can follow the pipelines down the roads and over to pads where they've drilled in to go down a few hundred to a few thousand feet to get the appropriate heat to generate that steam to turn the turbines. So Mother Nature is punched up from down below. It's a volcano. Humans have drilled in from up above, double perforating it, creating a double weak point, and then to top it all off, look where it is. It's on the famous San Andreas where it meets into the Imperial Fault. And that is the thick red line. This thick red line is the plate boundary. Think of the thick red lines as cracks between the plates that start at the surface and theoretically go all the way down. I don't think theoretically, I think they really do. The crack starts at the surface and goes all the way down to the underside of the plate where they meet. And so it's a predisposed weak point. A spot where there really isn't anything except for a gap in between the plates. Even if it's just pressed together, there's still a point where they meet. And that's where it's happening? So it's spread like a river from up here to down here. The loss isn't that much. If this was a big flood that went in up to the north, it's a big flood that came out down to the south. And it's not done. Now there's a halfway point. Look where the rings for these two sets of 5s overlap. Do you see? Both sets of rings. Here, let me zoom in and out and in and out. Do you see that? Look where they overlap. They overlap on the Bay Area going over to the California-Nevada border. That's not a coincidence. That's the fulcrum point, the halfway point between the two earthquakes if you go along that thick red line. If you come over, go down, or if you go down, over, and down, that the halfway point between those 2 points is right here. That's the other warned location. And it's not a coincidence, that is. We warned the halfway points between our current sets of earthquakes, but these quakes weren't here yesterday. Yesterday, only the quakes off the coast were. I had to imagine what was going to happen next, based upon the forecasting principles, of course. And so that's why we warned the Bay Area. That's why we warned right over here at Ubehebe Craters where these two sets of rings overlap right here. Let's wait for it to repopulate. You see that? So, 2 more areas left to be hit in California. We have 6 more days to fulfill that forecast. Even just getting one of the locations is good for me. You know why? Well, they all said all the professionals said it was impossible. All the people said it was impossible. So even getting one location right, 33% of impossible. Now, we know it's not impossible. It's just like weather forecasting. You can see the conditions coming your way, and you can forecast based upon that. The spread and common physics, and one thing leads to another, and progressions. So I'm going to save this as a separate video on its own separate video for everybody to see. A perfect forecast confirmation within 24 hours of me issuing it for Southern California. I'm not bragging. I just got to tell who's going to get on and tell you. You think they're going to... USGS is going to get on and tell you they were wrong and they're sorry for smearing me in the news and yeah, well, that's a pipe dream. And maybe if some hippie takes over there, maybe they might feel bad for what they did. But until then, we're going to just blaze on our own as true science kind of dictates that we must. You guys be safe. Oh, by the way, if you want to know how to forecast an earthquake, I know there's going to be a lot of new people who probably tune into this video. I've already published How to Forecast an Earthquake by Dutch Since. It's a very simple video. It's an hour long, but it's me re-explaining stuff over and over again. But I've already put out step-by-step directions for everybody to be able to repeat this. Science says you should be able to repeat it like in a laboratory. You should be able to repeat the test over and over again to test and see whether or not I'm right or wrong. And so we published the method in detail, an hour-long video, and it's titled How to Forecast an Earthquake by Dutch Since. Go ahead and look it up, and feel free to put it to the test. All right, word up. I'll be back if anything else goes down. Let me encourage you all, like I told you in my video yesterday, and I'm not joking about this. You need to have an earthquake plan. I've never been in an earthquake, knock on wood, of any kind, of any size. It's super freaky at this point that I haven't, but there it is. So I heard that it's very confusing, and I've heard that people panic and run around. I've seen videos of it. Table or desk, get underneath it. Then you can wave people as they're running around screaming earthquake. By the way, everybody already knows an earthquake's apparently happening, so you don't really need to scream it. Everybody already knows. But start beckoning the people underneath the table or desk to come shelter with you. Then you can pull out your phones and record and do all that stuff. Now, once the earthquake's over, that's when you're really going to have to make a decision. Are you going to stay inside or are you going to be going outside? If you go outside, I wouldn't even recommend it, really. But if you are, you need to have a pre-designated area outside because you do not want to be walking out into things falling off buildings still, which they will be if it's a big earthquake, that, things are loosened off buildings but don't fully fall yet. Also, natural gas lines, plumbing, sewer, all that stuff breaks in big earthquakes. So you have to be aware of where that is ahead of time. So that's why you got to go pick out your area ahead of time and know where you're going to go. And then, of course, if you're going outside, you might not be coming back in for a while. So you need to have an emergency kit. Has the basics that you need for a couple days. I'm not talking long-term, months and years of food. This is going to be the lightweight stuff, the pre-packaged granola bars and fruit roll-ups. The stuff that'll get you through, give you some energy. You're not going to be cooking a steak over a fire pit at, first night of an earthquake. So make sure you have that appropriate stuff, seasonal specific. Update your bug out bag twice a year, summer and fall. Do it, and you'll be way better off than all the other people. I'm not going to tell you what to have in your bag. Your needs are yours. You'll figure it out what you need. But I'm a cheapo, so you could probably do what I did about the dollar store. You could go to the dollar store and get the ponchos and, the disposable stuff that you want to throw away eventually. And that way, when the batteries go bad, it's Rayovacs from the dollar store that went bad, not a whole bunch of Duracells that sat in there for 2 years. Extra set of keys, extra ID. Don't forget that. And your important documents, you could even probably take pictures of it on your phone, put it on a flash drive. I know they don't really accept that stuff, but at least it has all the details, your insurance cards and all that crap, so that way you don't have to have it printed out. And if you get a waterproof flash drive, then you don't have to worry about it getting wet. It's probably cheaper than printing it out now anyway. Put it on a flash drive. 1:20 p.m. I'm out of here. Word up, much love. And word up to the people in California, hey, the days of living in ignorance about earthquakes are over. They're not magical. And they're not random. This is like the weather or the tides. Actually, it's a cross between weather forecasting and tide forecasting. And maybe even river level forecasting, flood forecasting. Take those all, put them together. There you've got the new science of seismic forecasting, which every professional said was impossible to do, but yet somehow I was able to know yesterday when the 5.9 hit to watch Salton Sea in particular. Of all those places in California. I'm not bragging. I've already explained how to do it. So if you're curious and you're into science, you'll go look it up. You won't sit there and be befuddled and vexed and try to figure out how some guy on YouTube is doing it when he's already explained it in detail, giving directions to the people who are science-minded and able to follow directions. Now, if you cannot follow the directions, if you're serious about learning, I'd be even willing to walk you through personally. Hold your hand and walk you through it. But I think you should be able to do it. If you can put together an entertainment center, you can follow the earthquake forecasting directions. Okay. Much love, everybody. I'll be back if anything else goes down. Peace out. And I'm uploading this over on YouTube for sure, 100%. Everybody needs to see a Southern California earthquake forecast hit. And people in California lose the fear of earthquakes and replace it with watching it come your way, like watching a flood coming your way. Vigilance taking over from what you previously thought was random and scary is now more like the weather. It can still be intimidating, but you can be prepared for it. Anybody tells you that earthquakes can't be forecast, cannot, they are wrong, they're incorrect, and if they push it, you need to push them to me, and if they keep pushing it, they've got something going on with something they previously said or something like that, where they're in denial about it, as opposed to skeptical. Okay? Peace out, guys.